Good morning, I'm Rivers Clark.
I'm Caitlin Osborne.
Today in the United States news, we'll talk about the military draft and its changes, victory gardens,
Women joining the workforce, African Americans moving north, and shaping the public's opinion.
and we'll also interview a worker. Now to Caitlin with the military draft.
Go.
Good morning. In today's news, we will talk about military draft. Men in between the ages of 21 and 30 enter the registration for the draft in war when the U.S. entered war. The Army and National Guard had more than 200,000 troops. 2.8 million Americans were drafted. 200,000 were wounded. 50,000 died in combat, and 60,000 of our soldiers died of diseases. The influenza epidemic was not limited to the battlefield. It spread and made more than 500,000 Americans sick and die. The diseases killed 25 to 50 million people worldwide. Please make sure to get your vaccine shots at your local pharmacist or doctor to prevent the illness. In other news, 400,000 African Americans were drafted and 42,000 served overseas. 12,000 Native Americans and 20,000 Puerto Ricans served in armed forces. Now to Jesse for the war update.
Thank you, Caitlin. And I'm Jesse here to talk to you about your war update. In January of 1917, the Army had over 200,000 troops. In March of 1917, the Navy authorized women to be enlisted in the Navy and used for clerical needs. April 6 of 1917, the U.S. enters the war. April 28th of 1917, the Selective Service Act is issued. June 15th of 1917, the Espionage Act is issued. January of 1918, the influenza epidemic begins. March of 1918, the U.S. establishes the National War Labor Board. May 16th of 1918, the Sedition Act is issued. November 11th of 1918, fighting stops due to the signing of the armistice. January of 1919, the Schneck versus the U.S. begins. In December of 1919, the Influenza Act ends, and the unions increased to 1 million since 1917. In January of 1920, 100,000 Mexicans moved southwest. Thank you. Now back to you.
In other news, an increase of families at home have been recognized to be using victory gardens while their loved ones are in battle. A victory garden is described as a garden planted and used by civilians as an alternative to buying crops from markets. These personal gardens have been recommended and widely encouraged by the Food Administration, who is run by Herbert Hoover. They are responsible for the increase of food production while decreasing food consumption by civilians. The agency is pushing for the use of victory gardens by civilians. They are creating to allow our Army and allies a good amount of nutrients and protein-packed food. In addition to managing coal and oil to conserve energy, the agency has introduced daylight savings time and shortened work weeks for goods factories.
Hi, I'm Courtney Rico with your subtopic reports. First off, women joining the workforce. Many women have begun joining the workforce because many men have gone off to serve in our war. 1 million have joined workforce. 8 million have switched into industrial jobs. Women work in factories, shipyards, railroads, and many began to serve as policemen, mail carriers, and train engineers. Next off, African Americans move north. Henry Ford has sent many agents down to the south to recruit African Americans to quickly, and others have followed in Ford's footsteps. They promised high wages and work between 300,000 and 500,000 African Americans if they moved north. Finally, the NWLB, the National War Labor Board. They pressured industries into higher wages and also have made them begin 8-hour workdays. Allowed unions to organize and barge collectively. And now back to you guys.
Finally, in this morning's news, the government is shaping the public's opinion. When President Wilson declared war on Germany, he created the CPI. The CPI is the Committee on Public Information. to sell us on the war that we are going into. The CPI will be giving short 4-minute speeches in public places like your local movie theater. The speeches are meant to sway your opinion into wanting the war. And the men giving the speeches are called 4-minute men. The CPI isn't the only group who is trying to persuade your public opinion. There's also a group called the non-government, which is not only using propaganda to persuade these people, they're also limiting the espionage, or spying to acquire the government information. They have passed the Espionage Act that now makes it illegal to give enemy false reports. They then passed the Sedition Act. This makes it illegal to speak against the war publicly. This allows officials to arrest anyone against the government. These two laws have caused more than 2,000 convictions in this country. People have been protesting against it because many believe that this goes against the United States Constitution. The part it goes against is the freedom of speech. German Americans have been attacked due to wartime traitors in the United States. Many German Americans have to hide their culture thanks to the ads telling the citizens to look out for their fellow neighbors. Many have engaged their names or changed their names, and many German language newspapers these coverage due to war their fears. Are you serious? What is that?
Oh my God! Thank you. I'm here with John Smith to discuss his views on the war today. John?
Hello, Emily.
So, John, where do you work?
Well, I work in southern New York and at a gun factory to help support our troops overseas.
That's nice. What is your occupation there? What is your specific job title?
Well, I mainly work in the ammunition department. I help create the ammunition. I help ship in the gunpowder, and I also help ship the ammunition actually overseas to our troops to help support our war.
Interesting. John, why aren't you in the war? You're a man. You should be fighting for our country.
Well, this is a very embarrassing task that I get asked a lot, believe it or not, by my family. I actually have 6 children that still live at home, 8 total, and a wife that I need to support and feed, and that's what's kept me from going overseas to help with the war effort.
Well, I think that's a worthy cause to stay home. Do you have any family in the military?
Actually, yes, I do. One of my sons that is no longer living with me, he is actually over there in the Navy. He's fighting against the Germans right now. And I also have an uncle that is in the trenches fighting against the Germans.
Well, thank you for your family for supporting our country. Have the shortened work weeks affected your occupation personally?
Yes and no. I get a less pay, and that really affects my family economically, but I do get to spend a lot more time with my children.
Well, that's nice. How is the fuel administration affecting your city?
Well, we have a lot of angry lower class people, and even some wealthier people that are very angry due to this.
In southern New York, correct?
Yes.
What is your opinion on victory gardens?
Well, I have a victory garden, and I think it's great for the economy, and it helps our troops a lot.
Yes, very popular topic. What do you grow in your victory garden?
Well, I grow all sorts of fruits and vegetables. I actually, believe it or not, I have an apple tree in my victory garden. I grow tomatoes. I grow some grapes. I have a grapevine, and I grow some cucumbers and a few other things.
Liking those vegetables, kids. Does your family participate in Heatless Mondays?
Yes, we do. We're not really given a choice too much, but we are pretty much forced to participate in them. It's really cold.
Yes, sorry to hear about things like that. How do you feel about the war in general, this great war?
Well, I mean, I really wish our country wasn't at war. I wish we could just stay at peace, but I do understand why we are at war, and I believe that if we win this war, it will be for a good cause.
That's nice. What is your opinion on President Wilson?
President Wilson, I really like this president. He kept us out of the war for as long as he possibly could, but when he finally put us in the war, it was time for our country to go to war.
Well, that's good to hear. Well, thank you, John, for this interview. Back to you.
The morning news. Thanks for watching United States News. Tune in later tonight for more war updates with us. We will talk about the Red Bear and have a wonderful day.
Shut up, don't do that.
Thank you. I'm here with John.
Did you just about say John James? I can't do the water, it's just making it worse.
But the cats are so cute.
Alright, but I can't drink
Don't
it.
drink
Don't
it.
drink it.
Hi, I'm Courtney Bucco with your subtopic reports. First off, women join the workforce. Employers have begun hiring more women because men have been going off to serve in the war. About 1 million have...
Jesse! I must lick my lemon now.
Did you bite it?
Where's your bathroom?
In the hall.
That one was you, I didn't do anything.